Hello and welcome to this screencast. In this screencast we'll go over writing a FIFO singleton. In previous screencasts we wrote two different scripts to accomplish the same thing, to send code to the REPL. The first used the clipboard, the second used a FIFO file. Both approaches accomplish what needed to be done, however we can probably make it better. One way we can make it better is by abstracting away the FIFO by reading the acme buffer. That way we can have a single command that doesn't take in any parameters. So to illustrate what I mean, let me start a SBCL instance, which is Steelbank Common Lisp, and actually let's close it. Let me go first to our previous scripts that we made. Let's see this one. So I'm gonna launch it with the FIFO script that we made. It says here FIFO at whatever this is, and let's create a new file. Touch temporary main.lisp. Go there. So to evaluate code, we would just do first let's write our code, print hello world, and then we would do something like acme FIFO send, right? And then select our code, do this. This is interesting. Oh yeah, I added some debug after after we stopped the video. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna remove all the debug information and then send it. It sends, and then I can evaluate hello world, and it does. Now, what we want to do in this screencast is, without me saying acme FIFO send, and then without me providing the file, it should automatically read the file name, and then after it reads the file name, it should automatically get the file name and then call this script using the file name by reading the body. Right. So I already wrote this script, but I'm gonna delete it and rewrite it from scratch again. So the way I would do that is this, and then we'll call it acme FIFO send singleton. Go touch that, and then here we have our script. Now let's just make sure that we understand what we're doing here. So what we want to do is loop through each file in the index, call it each buffer through the index, and then after we do that, let's say check if the line FIFO is at exists, and extract the FIFO file. Finally call the acme FIFO send script. That's it. So the way we would do that is, first we want to do an IP read acme index, and for those that don't know, if I execute this command, it gives me like a space delimited info of each buffer that is open. For all purposes for today's video, we're just going to use the first parameter, which is the win ID, and we use the win ID to read the body of each buffer. And so do that, and then put it to awk, and then say print the first column. And what that does, it would read the first column, which is the win ID. Now next, what we want to do is do an IP read acme, and then win ID, and then body. And then what we want to do is, first of all, check if it is the first line, and then check if there is this unique if there is this unique regular expression. So only read the first line and check if this exists. And if it does, print the fourth column, which is this one, the FIFO file. And then let's bind that into FIFO file. And if it is bound to the FIFO file, what we want to do is we want to store it into a FIFO file parameter. Now, I'm not gonna bind this into the WinID, because if I bind it to the WinID, it's gonna make an issue with acme FIFO-send. So if we read the source of the acme FIFO-send, it should read the current buffer, not the buffer of the program. So the REPL, right? So I'm gonna make it FIFO ID. That way is better. And then I'm gonna say if it's not empty, then so if the value that we have is not empty, we want to exit out of this loop. But aside from that, we also want to do acme-FIFO-send FIFO file. Voila. And then that's interesting. So let's echo the FIFO file. So it didn't do anything. So I can tell that this is not even running. So I'm gonna make it an executable. Oh, okay, now it works. Now as you can see, it's a bunch of empty lines because I'm doing echo. If I remove echo, it removes the echo, and then now well, that's interesting, it doesn't work now. How about if I do echo here? Oh yeah, I'm not selecting anything. Yeah, that's my issue. Oh, okay. Now if I remove that and I do this again, it works as intended. Just to check, we can make hello world 2 and then execute hello world 2, and it works as intended. Okay, let's go on to the next point. Binding it to a keystroke. We can also bind the FIFO singleton into a keystroke so that the mouse does not have to be moved that much. I use Sway WM, which is a window manager that uses the Wayland protocol and is built for Linux. If you have a different window manager, you'll have to find out how to bind your keystroke to script. Now, one thing to know here is that when we execute this command, the acme FIFO send singleton, what we are doing is, first of all, when we execute it, we have the WinID variable set, the environment variable set. So when we have to write another script that checks which Lisp file is open and read that selection, and if the selection is empty, move on to the next file, so that it can automatically detect which window we mean, right? And this will always be buggy. In general, I always recommend just using the script and then mail clicking, because it's more consistent. But it's fun, so why not try to do this? So I'm going to remove this and then create a new script, acme FIFO send singleton keystroke. The basic idea is simple. We want us to do something like that. But what we want to say is I guess, yeah, let's first of all print the WinID, that's for sure. Change this into WinID. instead of FIFO ID. Read through the each buffer, only select .lisp files. And the way we do that is we say we use the match. So I'm gonna just open acme page. I think it was 4. Maybe it's 1. Yep, it is 1. So there is this function that we used before called match. And the basic idea goes like this. You give it a string. Our string will be 4 because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It should be 6, not 4. And then we want to say, make sure it has a Lisp at the end. So make sure it ends with the word Lisp. And then let's just do echo one ID. So what this should do is just, it should print all, for now, it should print all the Lisp files, all the window IDs of all the Lisp files. So if I do that, it gives us 15. Now if I do 9p read acme index, 15 is this one, it's the temp main Lisp file. That's good. Next, what we want to do is, we want to say, well, we want to see the selection. So 9p read acme, and then one ID, and then rd cell. So if this is not empty, then so if this is not empty, call the acme FIFO send singleton script, and then that's it. So just to check, I'm gonna launch it outside of the keystroke, and then I'm gonna bind the keystroke. So I'm gonna launch it here, and whenever you launch anything from up, from this top bar or this second bar, so from this tag or this tag, you don't inherit the one ID, right? So if I launch it from here, the one ID is not set to anything. So if I do this, then middle click, it doesn't do anything. So let's check why. Oh, I'm doing singleton. I should do keystroke. Okay, it works as intended. So to check again, let's do that. Oops. I have to select it. Good. Now if I do hello world 3, it works as intended. Now let me just open my config file for Sway, which was the window manager that I'm currently running, Sway WM. Let's go to Sway config. No, I think it was local config, Sway config. I have a bunch of stuff here that will be different from the default installation. I'm gonna bind the script here. Oops, let's do acme FIFO singleton keystroke. Singleton. And then byte symbol. Make it O, because I think shift plus O is not taken. Let's check for shift. Okay, it's not taken at all. Exec. This thing. And then I'm gonna reload my window manager. Everything will go a bit weird in a bunch of seconds. So 3, 2, 1. Okay, good. If I do Windows Shift O, Okay, for some reason it does not execute. Acme FIFO send singleton keystroke. Let's check again. It does not. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm just gonna make sure that if the script executes or not. So I'm gonna do Windows Shift O. Okay, so it does execute, but for some reason it's not executing the thing that we want, which is the Acme FIFO send singleton. So I go here, then I go here. Let's check what other environment variables do we need. So we need WinID. I'm gonna guess that WinID is not exported. So I'm gonna export WinID. And then I could do Win Shift O. Yep, it works as intended. Now if I do hello world 4, it works as intended. Adding the script to the tag. If the user doesn't mind moving the mouse, which they really shouldn't, since Acme is mouse driven, we can have the script written to the tag, because some users might prefer the script is written to the tag when they start any REPL enabled file. Luckily that can be done and has been done for a lot of Acme programs. For example, the Win program adds the text send to the Windows tag, like so. We can do the same for .lisp files, so that any .lisp file adds a script to the tag automatically whenever a Lisp file is opened. How do we do that? Through the plumber. Opening strings of all kinds using the plumber. For those who don't know, the plumber is an IP server that is used to open all sorts of strings. For the purpose of this objective, the plumber will be utilized to customize how certain files are opened. But before we get into that, let's discuss the default plumber settings. One can use the default plumber rules to open man pages like Acme 4. If I did right click on it and then it opened it in a new window, like so. One can also open files, like so. One can also open the file at line, like so, like the fourth line of the 01 file. And then can open the column, like so. So the fifth column, or the fifth character, I guess. So one can edit the plumber with specific rules using the -p flag, like so. So if you do plumber -p and then your the local plumbing rules, you can specify your custom rules. And the default plumber rules are stored at this spot, which is $plan9 plum. So if I go here, we have a bunch of files, basic file address, initial.plumbing. So here you have the basic editor, and then here you have something called the address, which adds regular expressions for addresses as in file addresses like 01 and 01. I guess this is a semicolon 4, and then so on and so forth. And then here you have basic stuff like, okay, well, if this is a file that has a file prefix, then send it to the web browser. You can have stuff like the different protocols like HTTPS and Gopher and FTP go to the browser. Now for the documentation of plumber rules, use the plum 7 man page, like so. Although this is, I think, a C library, aside from being a C library, this man page also explains how to customize the config. So the specific rules we can do. Now, what we can do is we can use the following snippet. Type is text, and then data matches, and then what this says is match anything that doesn't start with .lisp. Doesn't include .lisp, and then match .lisp at the end, and then make sure if it's a file, and if it's a file, open that file at that directory, and then we can include everything else. So to illustrate what I mean, beforehand I loaded my files from here, the local config plumber rules, because I have my own plumbing rules and I use plumbing rather extensively to do a bunch of stuff. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to plumber rules from the sway config, and then voila, it works. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna do something very, very simple, which is, okay, first of all, before we get ahead of ourselves, and since this is a very new syntax, let's create a open file, open Lisp file, open Lisp file script, open Lisp file, and then make it executable. I should make a script for future videos that does touch and then does change file mode +X. Anyway, so we're gonna have the classic shell shebang. What else? We also, okay, so we have the classic shell shebang. What we also want to do is we want to first of all check if the file exists. So if it's not statable, then exit with 1. I guess we could do something like this, and then if it doesn't get to that, then it exits with 1. So if I do open Lisp file 404, it does not exit with 1. Then if I do something like this, it will exit with 1. That's good. Next, what we want to do is we want to say, well, open the file in Acme. And the way to do that is to say 9p. So I'm gonna go back to the Acme 4 just to explain what I'm doing. I mentioned this in previous screencasts, but we can go over it again. So there's a directory called new. It's analogous to number directories. Accident file in it creates a window. To cause text to appear in a window, write it to dev new body. For more control, open dev new CTL. CTL is this file. What we want to do is set the name of the file to what we have, right? Which is, so okay, so say our file is like 404. We want to set the file like this to 404, and then we want to do something like get, and then get would fill up the content of the file in Acme. Okay, so to do that, let's do name file. Now file has to be absolute. If the file is not absolute, it wouldn't work, and it's really meant for plumbing, for the plumber to use. So we're gonna just assume that it's running in the plumber, right? And then 9p, right, Acme, new CTL. And then if I do 404, it's gonna create a new. Oh yeah, the file does not exist. If I do acme FIFO send, it's gonna create a new buffer with the acme FIFO send. Now, to make sure that it is actually absolute, we're gonna cd into the root directory, which is / without anything else, and now it works as intended. So what I have to do is I have to make it local bin whatever. Now it adds it as intended, and then you could do just get, which equivalent to the get interactive command with no arguments, except accepts no arguments, and then it will open the file as intended. And then next what we want to do is we want to set the tag. I think there is no possible way to set the tag here, so we have to check for the WinID. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do read acme index awk. The 6th line should be similar to the file, and if it is, print the first line. So the 6th column being, I said 6th line before, that was a misnomer. The 6th column meaning the file PWD, like where the file is located. So for example, like something like this, right? And then it equals to our file, which is this one, the parameter. And then if it does, print the WinID. Broken pipe, unexpected. Oh, this is interesting. So it's an unexpected token, which is this one. Let's try to do echo, because I want to check if my understanding is correct. Actually, let's open a shell. A win shell, yeah. And then let's do, yeah, so it works as intended. So what's the issue here? Oh, I gotta wrap these in quotes if I'm not mistaken. So if I do something like this, maybe I need to make it so that, oops, I need to make it so that it's escaped. Yep. Undo, and then do something like this. Let's check if this works as intended. Yeah, it gives 58. So WinID equals whatever, right? And then if it's not empty, if the WinID is not empty, then what we want to do is echo something to the tag. Now, to explain how this works is, so imagine the WinID is 65. If we say hello world and then 9p, right? Now, let me get the file here. I think it's down here. Holds the contents of the window tag. It may be read in any byte offset. Text written to the tag is always appended. The file offset is ignored. If I do, ouch. If I do 9p acme write, acme 58 tag, we could see that it will write hello world here. Even if I put, okay, so even if I put my cursor there, it appends it, right? So what we could do is we could say echo and then acme FIFO send singleton, right? I'm just checking if this is the correct name, okay. And then 9p write acme WinID tag. So if I do something like this, what? What again? So echo this and then to WinID tag. I'm guessing there's an issue with the name. Oh, okay, finally, it works. Oh, it was because we had two files at the same time. So acme FIFO send singleton. Okay, so that's good. So now if I do something similar for temp main.lisp, it will open it and then it will add the thing. That way we can just, whether it's somewhere near here, right? If I have hello world 5, it's already written down. Voila, it works. Now, to add this to the plumber, we do something very basic, which is, let's see, type as text. I'm just gonna use the snippet from here, and it's a very basic snippet. And I'm gonna add it above, because the way that this works is that if the first thing up here is the first that gets evaluated if it matches. If it matches that one, and then it exits. Right? So what I'm gonna say here, open Lisp file, I'm gonna put, and then I'm gonna reload. And the way to reload is to do this command. So 9p plumber being a 9p server, you can just write the plumber rules directly to the 9p server, like so. Now if I go to temp main.lisp, all I have to do is right click. Okay, so for some reason this is not matching the .lisp file. So what I'm gonna do, instead of doing my thing here, I'm gonna copy this file reg, which is a file like a regular expression. That's what it stands for. Put it here. Okay, let me undo. Okay. And then here, remove that. Read it again. Then if I do right click, okay, there is an issue here, but I'm not sure what it is. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna echo file to temp lisp file, lisp dash file, right? To check if the script is even launching to begin with. And it is. So what is going on here? So the working directory versus the okay, that is pretty interesting. Sorry. So working directory here means the directory where the plumber is executed from, and then 0 means the file. So what I'm gonna remove the working directory, and then do right click. Oh yeah, I'm gonna reload the thing, and then I'm gonna do right click. Voila, it works as intended, and now we have it. Now if I do 6, not 7, not 8, 6, and then acme FIFO singleton, it works as intended. So as we went over the screencast, we added our own rules to the plumber, and we made our own open Lisp file to create what I would say is an automatic file opener, and then we have our own tag, and we don't have to write the tag anymore. And that's how it usually works with most Acme development. The users usually don't add stuff to the tag manually. They have it automatically added, if it's that important at least. I mean, for me, sometimes I do because I get into the habit, and it's not a waste of time for me. But for other people, I would say it's different. I should also say that as an example of this, if I make a to-do.org here, and it could be any file.org, if I do right click, I have a bunch of stuff here. Look, so I have and it's with the font awesome icon. So for example, if I do hello, if I do something like this, this turns whatever text like to do into to do, and then this makes it done, kill. I think this one is something like meeting or something like that. Oh, clarification, and then management, and then maybe I should do it, maybe I shouldn't. So hope you enjoyed the screencast, and then duplicate to the line so that I have two of the same thing, and then maybe I could add another asterisk here, and then make it to do, and then write the next screencast, and so on. So, hope you enjoyed this video. Hope this was interesting. Hope you learned something today, and see you on the next one. Have a wonderful day.